adoption discourse on TikTok that, like, I have no business, like, being a part of or talking about.
So here's some information that you should know. Caitlin and Tyler were teenagers when they made the decision, but that isn't the only issue here. The adoption industry in the United States is a multi-billion-dollar business that has a history of using coercion and unethical practices to get birth parents to place their children. And I just want everyone to imagine that they were in this situation where they were coerced and promised an open adoption, that I guarantee you the agency and parents weren't clear about how open adoption isn't enforceable, and certainly didn't share that most open adoptions closed within the first 5 years. And often because the adoptive parents complain and they say it's too hard and their children are struggling, not understanding that that's part of the trauma of adoption. And all of a sudden they forget that open adoption has so many wonderful benefits for kids. And I think the biggest issue here is that you guys are acting like this is a puppy or some family heirloom that they gave up. No, this was a person. This was their daughter. Signing some papers does not erase that deep biological connection. So I just want you guys to imagine that you were a child. You were promised that this was the best choice. You were told that you couldn't care for the child. You didn't have enough finances or support or whatever it was. You were in a crisis situation, only to realize shortly after you placed the child for adoption that that was temporary, that you are now making money from a show that exploited you, where the adoptive parents took full advantage to benefit. Losing a child to adoption is a huge trauma, and there isn't enough support for birth parents. And as an adoptee and adoption educator, it is so exhausting to see people put the adoptive parents on a pedestal like they can't do no wrong.